thing we have to
Beer.
is
Beer.
itself.
Beer. So many choices.
Only no function beer well without.
Woohoo! Beer! Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Busters, where we're going to bring you the news and reviews of some wonderful brews. My name is Dan Baker, joined as always by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner.
and the guy we like to call the fermentertainer.
Wayne Baker.
I threw you off there, didn't I?
I was trying to think of a clever response, but it wasn't fast enough.
I have that effect on people, don't worry. Well, today we are on location once again, and I'm getting used to not being in the Beer Busters podcast basement, and I also like being on location where we are because it's very close to home for me, which I love. And even though traffic was bad, it still took me about half an hour to get here, which was awesome. But we have with us Mr.
Tom Sheridan.
Now, Tom is the man behind Do Good Brewing, which is in Kensington in Philadelphia. And Steph, you've been here before,
I have,
correct?
yes.
Yes. I'm very jealous, and I've heard a lot of good things about your beer here, Tom. So I'm
Thank
very
you very much.
A lot of do-good things.
A lot of do good things, indeed. And I'm very excited to get to them. Now we have a little bit of business to get through first. A lot has happened since the last time we recorded. I repeat, a lot has happened since the last time we recorded. Now, I've got 2 blurbs and 2 lists.
Yay!
It is the return of the list.
Not one, but two.
But 2. If you kill one, more will just take its place. So the first list I have technically 4 lists in one. But no,
Wait.
Got 2 lists, one of which is 4 lists in
Yeah.
one, and the
But
second list
you'll
is
see
sort
why-
of
you'll see why it
recursive
relates.
list that
Right.
goes on to infinity.
you'll see why it relates. So there was a list that I saw on a popular website that I've referenced several times that I'm not going to plug again. But this is
It's thrilling, and they have lists.
yes, exactly. I have the top 10 states for the total number of breweries for 2014 and the top 10 states for number of barrels brewed. Now, it's 4 lists because I also have the bottom 10 for each
Okay.
category. So I would like to ask the group, what do you think is... Name a state you think is high up, and we'll see
High
if they're
up
on the
in
list.
what?
Number of breweries?
Number of breweries first, then we'll tackle barrels.
Number of total breweries or number of breweries per capita?
Total, not per capita.
California.
Okay.
Washington.
Vermont is per capita.
And then we have Washington from Tom.
Oh,
Okay.
Washington, yeah.
Oregon.
All right. Okay.
Colorado would be up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pennsylvania,
Pennsylvania,
perhaps.
I'm
Yep.
sure. Florida's
So,
probably
New
pretty
York?
high up.
New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has
so
anybody
far-
guessed the number one yet?
Actually, yes. And the only one that anybody said that is not on this list is Vermont.
I said Vermont.
You did. I know.
Yes,
It's not on
Vermont's
the list.
number 1 per
Oh, it's not
capita.
on the
Not
list.
on the list.
I'm sorry.
Not on the list.
So, number 1?
Starting
So
off with number
fail.
10
Okay.
is Florida with 111. You have Ohio, and I'm not going to say the number because I think I had a typo in there. Because I have that marked as 110, which is not higher than 111. And then... Number
true.
Yeah. Number 8 was Texas with 117.
Texas, really?
Number
Yeah.
7, Pennsylvania with 136.
Okay.
Michigan was number 6 with 159. New York, 181. Number 4 was Oregon with 216. Colorado had 235, putting them at 3rd. You have Washington with 256 at number 2. And then number 1 is California with 431.
And
Wow.
no, I did not get to all 431 of them.
I'm ashamed of
You
you.
just have to go back.
I know.
You have to go back.
For a 3rd or 4th or 5th time.
Yes. Now let's shoot for the bottom. What states do you think have the
Below
least?
Utah.
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island, okay.
Kentucky?
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Tennessee.
Okay.
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Illinois. Wyoming.
We are a lot less accurate with the bottom 10.
All the,
Idaho.
north,
Yeah.
all the north and
North
south.
Dakota,
Yeah.
South
Yeah.
Dakota,
Yeah, all the north
Montana.
and south.
Number 10 was Kentucky with 18. Number 9 was Louisiana with 15.
The
Number
U.S. Virgin Islands.
No.
South Dakota with 12. Now we have a tie next for West Virginia and Rhode Island with 11. And then a tie again for Oklahoma and Hawaii with 10. Now they counted
Hawaii,
they
yeah.
counted D.C. Now I don't know that I like having D.C. in the list of states, but we have to include them because they are, the capital and all. They have 8 for D.C. And then you have Mississippi with 7 and North Dakota with 6 breweries.
Wow. So North Dakota was on the bottom.
North Dakota.
Was Utah on there?
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Surprising.
Yeah, the map that they had was pretty cool. I'll see if I can dig at the link so we can put it up for the episode.
I was reading a beer blog the other day as I was doing some research for Happy Funtime Games, and it was a guy who had recently visited Utah, and he talked about how, like, they used to not be able to serve beers over like 4%.
Oh,
because
yeah.
the Mormon Church has such influence, and they don't approve of alcohol and all that. And now they can, but there's so many concessions. You can only serve it out of a bottle, and you can only buy like 2 ounces at a time. Like, you can't get a full pint of a beer more than 4%. It's really weird.
And the bottles aren't sold in the same area, and you can't buy beer without ordering food.
That was the other one. You can't buy a big beer without ordering food.
You can't just go and get a beer.
Yeah.
You have
Well,
to
I
get
think
food.
if it's 4% or under, you can. I think that only applies to the big beers.
Yeah, I had a friend who grew up there, actually. The kids would go across state lines to get beers a little higher.
Right.
And they would say, we're going to get High Point. That was like their nickname.
Right.
For the
We're
beer.
going to get High Point.
Nice.
So, not so bad in Pennsylvania.
Right.
I know we've
Yeah.
had some crazy laws here, but
Yeah,
it's
grand
not
scheme
Utah.
of things, at least we can get beer in real amounts. So then we have the top 10 states for number of barrels brewed. Now, do we want to throw out some guesses?
California,
Number of barrels brewed. California, yeah.
Washington.
Now, are these number of barrels brewed,
Oregon.
does that include macro beers?
I believe
Oh.
so.
Because, like, I don't, like, Budweiser has several breweries, I would, like, across, I don't
Pennsylvania's
actually
probably
know.
on there because Sam
Sam
Adams
Adams,
is brewed here.
yeah.
Well,
And Yingling.
Yeah, PA would probably be strong for that.
I would think so, yeah.
I think they're probably number one.
well,
Or California and then Pennsylvania?
let's find out.
Let's
Number 10.
find out.
Number 10. Michigan, 825,103. Number 9, Wisconsin, 850,874. New York, 948,228. Texas, 982,918.
Texas again.
Yeah.
It is a
Oregon,
big state.
Don't mess with it.
Oregon cracks the million mark, 1,039,063 barrels. Florida with 1,128,089. Ohio, 1,274,331. Colorado, 1,673,686. California is number 2, 3,423,124, which means
Drum roll, please.
Pennsylvania, number 1, with a whopping 4,074,883 barrels of beer on the wall.
3.9 million from Do Good Brewing.
Wow, that's impressive.
On that,
Man,
I
you
mean,
are-
look,
you
looking
are
around your
brewing right
facility,
now,
that's
aren't
a
you?
lot of work.
Fun fact, guys.
Nice.
Did you know?
yeah, there's your did you know for the episode. So we'll go with the bottom 10. Any guesses?
Oh,
Utah.
bottom.
North Dakota.
Rhode Island, North Dakota.
South Dakota.
Yeah. Okay. So Hawaii, 27,760. Oklahoma, 25,425. Mississippi, 24,725. Washington, D.C., 20,660. Wyoming was 18,617.
Fun fact, did you know that Wyoming means no state here? That's not true. Continue.
Okay. I was going to say, it might as well mean no people here. Rhode Island, 18,401. Arkansas, 14,641. West Virginia, 7,923. South Dakota, 4,721. North Dakota, 4,571.
Dakota.
I'm pretty good at this.
You called it.
Am I missing something? Or where is Alaska in all this? Did he say?
Alaska actually had a fairly decent
They
showing.
have Anchorage.
I'm sure they're kind of
and
in the middle,
Alaskan
yeah.
Brewing and
Yeah, they were, if I remember
There's
right,
not
more,
much else to do in Alaska.
Yeah, you can fish
I
and you
would
can
think.
drink. Yeah, they were, if I remember right, somewhere in the mid-20s for breweries and for barrels.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll run out with the other list in a second, but I have 2 actual stories here that are kind of short stories. This one excites me for many reasons.
Have you ever heard the shortest story ever written? It's kind of depressing, actually, but it's Ernest Hemingway. It's for sale, baby shoes, never worn.
Yep.
And there goes all smiles.
Sorry.
That's what Wayne's good at, folks.
Deflating the room.
Oh, and this makes it even weirder because the first article I have is about the Walking Dead beer.
Yeah, I know.
So, thanks.
Yeah.
There's going to be an official Walking Dead beer. So we had, of course, locally Dock Street do their smoked goat brains beer. Now, Terrapin is teaming up with AMC and Robert Kirkman so they can do their official Walking Dead beer, which is just going to be called The Walking Dead. Now, Terrapin's The Walking Dead is going to be a blood orange IPA brewed with a, quote, horrific amount of hops, and will reportedly have you ready for the upcoming zombie apocalypse. It's going to clock in at roughly 6.7% ABV and will be available in 22-ounce bottles and on draft where available. Now, the next one, we have a live tie-in, which is very exciting. So,
I'm trying not to gulp it down.
I know.
Stone very quietly released the 3rd edition of Stone Farking Woot Stout, which I managed to stumble upon a few bottles of, so I brought one for Wayne and Steph was kind enough to volunteer hers so we could all sip it and try it.
Cheers to Dan.
So Stone, they have released the third version of it, which is, of course, the collaboration between Greg Cook, Will Wheaton, and Drew Curtis of Fark.com. The third edition, which we have in our cups right now, they are taking last year's version that was a collaboration with Aisha Tyler, and she added chocolate to it. They aged that in bourbon for over a year, and it is now available in 22-ounce bottles while supplies last with a much wider distribution than the second edition.
Yeah, it's
which
everywhere now.
Made me very
Which is
happy,
good,
because the other one was just in Southern California, right?
And it was like one other state, like random, like Tennessee or something weird like that. Yeah. Or
But now
Kentucky.
it's like almost everywhere.
So this is what we are drinking. This is the Aisha Tyler version aged for a year.
In
and that's
bourbon,
it.
yeah.
So
It's
at
really
least
good.
that's-
And we
that's-
opened it warm, and I'm
Yeah.
glad
Yeah.
we did. It tasted because I had it at Stone. I had it in Escondido a couple weeks ago, and
Rub it in.
they served it very cold. So I ordered it while I still had a pint of the pale ale or whatever.
Yeah.
And I let it sit, but even letting it sit while we ate, it still was pretty cold.
Wow.
I mean, it was good, but it's
Yeah.
way better warm.
Yeah, I've got my bottle in my fridge at home. I'm excited to crack it open, but you're right. The warmth does some good for it. I like it a lot.
It mellows it out. It was really hot when it was cold, but it was hot when it was cold.
It was
I know
really
what
hot
you
when
mean.
it
I
was
feel
cold,
like I'm
yeah.
singing a Katy Perry song.
When you're hot and you're cold.
I've definitely like loved every version of this beer. This is no
Oh, yeah.
exception, that's what I like about it is it's not really alcohol hot,
Yeah.
but you can
But
get
it
the
is high in
characters.
alcohol.
But it is. What is this one? Is this 13? The last one I think was 13 or
Probably.
13.5.
I think the first one was like 13.
This is 13, yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're all around the same.
I heard rumors because I was researching to see if this was Woot Stout 3.0, but I don't think it is technically Woot Stout 3.0 because it's the same beer.
Yeah,
But
in
I
fact,
think
even-
they're going to, the next time they're going to change the recipe is when
They'll
the
make it
brewery
yeah,
in Berlin
Right.
opens.
Well, this should
Oh,
be like
cool.
2.1.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's like the small firmware update.
Yeah,
To
because you didn't
2.0.
change the base recipe, so yeah, exactly.
It had some bug fixes.
Is
Is
the
the
beta
screen
version.
larger?
It's Retina. It's Retina ready.
I love it.
I do like this beer. I'm glad that I realized that I got this article yesterday. And now I have the final thing is this brief list, and I will make it very brief because
I think Dan missed recording.
I did. I really did.
It's got a lot to say.
I know. You know we record again next week.
I know. Still somewhat close to home for me.
I know, right?
Yeah, just a $5 toll involved. So this is a list, and I won't go through the whole thing. We're just going to kind of play it by ear. The beer most likely to be on the menu by state. So they have every state, the most popular beer, and what percentage of bars and restaurants have that beer available to drink.
Yingling Lager.
No,
Well, that's not a
Victory.
state.
Well, I meant.
So does
what
that
state
mean
do you
we're
think I
starting
meant?
with Pennsylvania?
A brewery per state, right?
Yes, they did just one beer by state. Not
Oh, a
necessarily
beer.
brewery.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, a particular beer.
Yingling
Wow.
Lager in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania is Yingling Lager with 63% of bars
Sam
and restaurants
Adams
with it.
Lager in Boston Lager in Massachusetts.
In Massachusetts, no.
Oh
No.
Bud Light, 49%.
Wow. What is New Mexico?
New Mexico Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, 29%.
Nice. What about California?
California Stella, 29%.
Stella. Florida.
I can so see that in California too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Florida is...
It is everywhere.
Bud Light, 52%.
How many
Thanks,
states
Grandpa.
are Bud Light?
A lot.
Ugh,
Give us some states that are like a craft beer.
that you wouldn't think.
All right. Well, Alaska, Lindemans Frambois,
Okay.
67.
Good choice, Alaska.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, when you have nothing to do but drink and fish.
Yeah.
Not what I would expect.
Delaware is obviously
Delaware,
Dogfish Head.
Dogfish.
Which one?
60?
Particularly 60.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say
yeah. With 62% of restaurants and bars serving it. Georgia is Sweetwater 420 Extra Pale Ale, 52%.
Of course.
Kentucky, this got me. Kentucky, Bell's Oberon.
In Kentucky?
In Kentucky.
Huh.
Nice.
30%
odd.
of
Oh.
bars.
That's not even a year-round beer.
No.
No.
And it's not brewed there.
No, it's brewed in Michigan.
I know. That's what made it even weirder. Like, I really figured Kentucky would be like Bud or Miller, but it's Bell's, particularly Oberon.
Nice.
Maine, Allagash White. Minnesota, Summit Extra Pale Ale, 49%.
Did you see the new lobster beer that Maine?
I did.
Is gonna brew?
I was going to grab that too, but as an article, but
Yeah.
I didn't.
But Dogfish has already been doing chalk lobster
Yeah.
forever. I didn't feel like it was that, but anyway.
Yeah, somebody in Maine is going to be brewing beer with lobster.
I hope they take the meat out first. I feel like that's a waste.
Do they throw them in live?
Maybe they do. They just boil them.
Just
like
boil
you do
them
in
in
water.
the-
'Cause
Wow.
I asked Chicken Pizza if I could do that with crabs.
Yeah.
Why not just go in?
Just
You
throw
know,
them
I
in.
mean, I want
Right in the
the
wort,
full effect.
in the boil,
Yeah,
and
right
then
in
you
the boil.
can take them out and then
Just like 60
eat them,
minutes
right?
of love and joy in there.
Yeah.
Don't wanna
And then
just-
take them out and eat them and serve them next to the beer.
Yeah, you get the flavor and you get some enjoyment.
Yeah. Very nice.
Well, because Yards does love stout, but they just put the shells in, the oyster shells, right?
Yeah, I
They
think
don't,
so.
You don't actually put.
I don't know.
Anyway, sorry.
You also have Mississippi was a Beta Select Amber. Nebraska Boulevard Unfiltered Wheat.
Nice.
North Dakota Shiner Bock.
well, they only
Yeah, exactly.
have 4,000 barrels of beer.
Yeah. Ohio is also Yingling,
Oh, really?
as well as South Carolina. South Dakota is New Belgium Fat Tire.
What? That's
Washington
awesome. Which is also available in cans on Southwest flights.
Good to know.
I used one of my
Oh,
free
yeah.
drink coupons for a can of
Nice.
Fat Tire. It's awesome.
Vermont is Switchback Ale. Washington, Mac and Jack's African Amber. West Virginia is Magic Hat number 9 at 50% of the
Number
places.
9.
And then you have Wyoming, Snake River American Pale Ale at 75% of locations. Wow. I think that might be the highest availability on the list as I'm walking through. Also in Utah, Bud Light, 75%. Yeah, everything else is... Oh, Arkansas,
and Bud Light.
Diamond Bear Pale Ale is also 75% of places.
I can't help but think that some of these places just have like really energetic sales rep that move there.
Yes.
Like, especially the Oberon thing. That makes no sense.
I know.
Y'all gonna love this beer from up there north.
That's pretty random.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for alienating our listeners in Kentucky, Dan.
Sorry. Sorry. Do we have any? I don't even know. Well, we don't now, so.
We love you, Kentucky.
Yes, your fried chicken is delicious.
Really?
I think that just made it worse.
Love the new commercials with the guy coming back.
Yes! The Colonel
He
is
is a
the
little
man.
creepy, though.
Yeah, minor creepy. Well, anyway, that does it for the news. Sorry I prattled on for so long with that. I did miss recording.
That's
Those
right.
were good stories. That was fun.
I thought so. But we are on location. We are at Do Good Brewing, and the voice you've heard other than ours so far is, of course, Tom from Do Good. And I'm very excited to be here.
Yo.
Tom, thank you so much for having us out here.
No problem, man. Thanks for coming.
Now, I know we were talking while I was setting up before Steph and Wayne got here, because I actually got here first for once.
Yeah, we had to sit in
I
traffic
know.
for once.
I sat in traffic for a little bit.
I know.
Not long, though. But you've been open, and you said you got licensed in 2013, was it?
2013 license. Yeah, near the
Okay.
end of 2013 was when we got licensed.
Okay. But you've been distributing just for a little under a year now.
Yeah, probably about 10, 11 months we've been distributing the bars now.
Okay, cool. And that's been going pretty good so far?
Yeah, I think we just finally broke the 50 bar mark,
Yay.
which was
Nice.
pretty exciting for our little place. But
Yeah,
it was,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
we're going really strong. I mean, people keep on buying it, people were enjoying it, so it is growing good.
Good. What's been the most popular one so far?
Oh, I don't know if it's because it's what everyone loves the most, or it's because of what I push the most. our
You're
flagship.
like that Bell's rep in Kentucky.
Yeah, I gotta find that guy.
Yeah, right.
Maybe a Craigslist that'll get it done. Yeah, it's probably 6 for the area. Our Do Good United Ale is our flagship beer. It's a cream ale, blood orange, coriander. It's a beer we launched with. It's like a really good session beer, not too overpowering for neighborhood guys over here. But that's our best seller. I mean, that's out of 50 or so accounts, that one is probably in 48 of them.
Wow.
And that doesn't mean that like those 48 don't buy something else. It's that I was telling you before other people got here, Steph got here. We sell to local corner bars, so they give us guaranteed tap space. Like we don't go on, come off, go on, come off. We're there, and then we're there forever. So then if I come out with our Milk Street Stout or our Kenzo Sour, it'll flip us on for a couple of weeks and then go back to United Ale.
Right.
So that's mostly why United Ale is out there the most.
And you don't serve beer here at the brewery, but a lot of local pubs do have it. Last time I was here, we went to the Kensington pub and got the local Kensington experience and had the cream ale there on tap. How has Kensington embraced having a brewery here?
Amazingly well. I mean, well, first of all, to your first point, we don't like humans in here almost at all. I mean, this is a brewery manufacturer at its most basic level. Like, we are a brewery. There's nothing else here, no bells and whistles. We make beer and we sell beer. So that's why we don't sell beer, have a full tap system here. But Kensington has been embracing us very well. I mean, there's almost nowhere you can walk in Kensington, Port Richmond, Bridesburg, without getting a Do Good. There's nowhere you can go. You know, when you go a little further south to Fishtown and in Northern Liberties, we try to get more sporadic. Like around here, like they love us. Like I love them. I was born here. They love us, and they keep us there. So I mean, you literally can't walk into a bar without finding our beer. So they've embraced us very well.
Yeah, how does that feel, growing up here in Kensington? What, like 2 blocks from the brewery here you grew up?
Yeah, I literally 2 blocks from here in Kensington, Ontario and Emerald. I grew up, and so it feels good. I mean, I was saying before we started the show. I walk around, I go into a bar with my wife to like grab a beer, have something to eat in one of the local pubs. Like, oh, there goes the Do Good guy. I'm like, I don't even know what that means, but yeah, I'm the Do Good guy. So I mean, that's an awesome feeling. I mean, for them to recognize who I am, for us to embrace the beer, to see a guy who I know has never even looked at a craft beer bottle sit there and say, "Can I get a Do Good?" You know, it's like, wow, I can't believe he just freaking ordered a Do Good.
Yeah, nice.
You know, so that's an awesome feeling.
And Do Good is a nod to Benjamin Franklin, I assume?
It's it's double meaning. So Silence Do Good, Benjamin Franklin's pen name when he was younger, and then also because we do good, every beer is attached to a charitable cause.
I love that part.
Thank you so much. I'm a Freemason. Pennsylvania Freemasons alone donate $1 million a day to charity. Wow. You know, so when I launched the brewery, it was very important for me to kind of integrate that philosophy into the whole brewery to make sure we do something with it. You know, it's like last year, of course, we're a small brewery. Like a small percentage of each beer is not producing a lot right now, income-wise, to do a big project for charity. So what I did was I took a little bit that I had, filled my cart with a bunch of toys, put a thing on Facebook, like, listen, any families need toys, text me. And Christmas Eve, I literally drove around Port Richmond to houses, just dropping off gifts to different families.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, and even though it wasn't a huge event, it was like the best feeling in the world to do something like that. You know, so like, we try not to just like use it as some kind of advertising ploy. Like, we try to live it, you know, like as much as we can.
Good.
How do you choose which charities are attached to the beers?
It's a ping pong system. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
where's that? Is that hidden behind a door somewhere?
There's a big wheel they spin.
No, the reason why our flagship beer is attached to childhood poverty is because I basically just sat down and said, what charity at a small level could I have an effect on? Like, I really want to help like pediatric cancer and stuff, but like, what's $200 going to do right now for that? But childhood poverty encompasses, you know, not knowing how to read, not having toys, not having Christmas gifts, not having this. With $200, $300, $500, I can do something with that immediately. Yeah. You know, so that's how I kind of choose a charity to see it. Where can I have the biggest impact right now? You know, when my beer is in 600 bars, fingers crossed in the future, and I have more money, then we'll get into more bigger, more important charities. Not that they're all that important, but like, bigger,
more far-reaching.
Exactly.
Did I see you have something on your website where people can suggest charities?
Yeah, we have
submission.
We have a couple for. We have one where you can like register to help with our charities, as a volunteer. Because I mean, what I want to do soon is like start like repainting playgrounds, stuff like that. So volunteers, and also where you could suggest a charity. There's something you're deeply passionate about. Because as a small brewery, I don't have a corporate team behind me, a marketing guy, a sales guy. I don't have all that. So like, if I have someone who's deeply passionate and I know they're going to help put work into that charity, I'll attach your charity to a beer, help me push the charity. That's make money for the charity. And I've had that come. My original head brewer was really into women who had problems with abuse. You know, so let's make a beer that's attached to that. You know, my current brewer is doing something with abortion rights, something like that. Like, we try to like attach it to where there's passion. I don't want to just choose one that's popular and like you know attach a ribbon to it. Like, I want there to be a wave behind it inside the brewery.
Yeah, it's a little more personal then.
Yeah, exactly. Someone has feelings for it.
Right, and that's really cool because a lot of breweries will do like one beer that they attach to a charity, or they'll do, as I know, Weyerbacher had the Althea, what they did for breast cancer, and they also do the
and
no
the Last Chance IPA
animal shelter,
with the no kill.
which is great, and it's cool that you know a lot of breweries are doing that. But I've never heard of a brewery that every single beer is attached, and to hear you talk about it, that it's not just because you want to make a good name for yourself and look like you're being philanthropic, but that you actually care, that you're going to drive around and deliver toys to children, that you're going to go out and paint playgrounds. Like that's really awesome.
Yeah, like you'll never now and in the future see something on our beer label or our posters or anything that says, you know, we donate. Like, I don't even put it on the marketing material. I don't even put it. Like, if no one even know about it, if like interviews like this didn't ask about it, I don't even want to put it out there.
Right.
I just want to be a part of who we are.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I hate when companies they do that. Like, oh, you know, for every X amount of whatever sold, we'll donate this amount of money to just donate to charity anyway. don't try to like boost your own sales to make yourself feel better about donate. Like, just do it. Yeah. But I love that you're doing that. It's something you want to do. It's a personal thing, and you're not going out of your way to make sure everybody knows it. But it deserves to be known. You know, that's awesome.
Thank you.
What size system are you brewing on here at the brewery?
We have a 4-barrel system here at the brewery. 3.5, and I round up.
Always thinking positive.
You shove that mash tun full.
4 sounds cooler than 3.5. So let's just call it 4 for today's purposes.
Okay, fair enough. All right, we can live with that. So with that system, how often are you brewing?
We brew every Sunday.
Okay.
Sometimes if the guys want to take vacation, we'll skip a Sunday. You know, but just about every Sunday we're in here brewing.
Nice.
And every brew gets us roughly 12 to 15 quarter kegs is what we end up with. So that's why, like today, we're out of this, we're out of that. Like the turnover is so quick, which is a great thing, but a sucky thing.
Right.
I wish you could taste all like 5 years.
Right, but yeah.
And then the beer's fresh though too.
It's even fresher, which is better.
But this isn't the system you'll be brewing on for very long.
No, it will not be. We're going to be going to a 15-barrel system. Very soon.
That's a big scale.
It's a lot bigger than this, but luckily I have like amazing team members, like know what they're doing. They're Sybil graduates. You know, it's like if I started out as a Sybil graduate, my first teammate in the brewery. And if I didn't have that, I mean, God, I'd still be trying to figure out what to do right now. You know, so like, I'm confident we'll be able to tackle the next challenges come with the new system.
So that 15-barrel system is not going to fit in this space, though.
No, we will not be in this space.
Right, yeah.
We will not be in this space. A lot of great memories here that hopefully I can tell people about years down the road if we're still around. But no, we will be out of here. Same neighborhood, just different place. We're trying to move to Richmond Street in Port Richmond. There's a new warehouse that was just done there. We want to try and grab one of the corner spots. That place will have a growler station, full tap set up. Yeah. You know,
so you will allow humans in.
That'll be more than just production
it'll be like a token system though. Like I'll hand out tokens around the city.
Right. You have to prove,
not everyone.
You have to prove your humanity as well before you come in.
Yeah.
Little DNA swab. Are you really human?
Do you have a goal for when the new spot will be up and running?
We are hoping. I mean, now these things change all the time because our original goal was July, and obviously I'm here right now. So we're hoping to be in there, set up and selling by October. We'll see how that goes. I'm very confident it'll still be 2015. You know, we'll see how it goes. I mean, the brewery's not like stopping while we wait. I mean, we're obviously operating and brewing and everything. But once the move happens, it'll happen. But we're hoping by October.
Nice.
Would you still keep to the every Sunday brewing, or I guess you'd have to do more with a bigger system?
Well, to be honest, in the very beginning, it'll be probably less. Yeah. You know, because we'll have to wait till our accounts catch up.
Right.
Like I mean, because of how small our system is, I don't sell nearly as hard as I could.
Yeah.
You know, like I barely go out there and sell that often. Like, we've said no to a bunch of accounts for a couple reasons. I mean, we have a rule of thumb too that we try to live by rule of thumb. That we don't sell to anybody more than 3 miles from our brewery. Like we try to keep it like super local,
extremely local.
You know, because I want to support the neighborhood, and the neighborhood like support me. Now some places I say yes to because they're just huge historic places like McGillen's downtown. Of course I'm gonna say I'm not gonna ever say anything to McGillen's. Like, put me on tap, please.
There's a good tie in there. So are you guys on tap? Yeah. So there's a good tie in there too because that's the oldest bar in Philly. So Ben Franklin probably drank there.
Yeah, he probably got wasted in McGillen's.
He probably penned some Silence Do Good stuff there. So there's a nice little historical tie-in with Do Good. I like that.
So like when the new system's installed, I'll go out there and I'll start blasting and pushing heavier for sales. And once the sales catch up, we'll try to probably brew more often. But in the beginning, it might be one Sunday a month, to be honest.
Wow.
Because you figure one batch will be almost 4 of our batches.
That's true. Yeah. So you wouldn't need to do as much to start. Yeah. Now now
when you have that 15-barrel system, I'm sorry, will you be rounding it up to 20?
I'm gonna ask the manufacturers to add on like a couple inches, so I guess like 15.5 and then round that to 16, because no one has a 16 barrel. Now that's something I'll put on the marketing posters.
Unique, yes.
Only 16 barrel brewery on the East Coast.
I'm sorry, Dan. I interrupted. You had a real question.
That was a real question. There was a question mark at the end and everything. No, the recipes that you have right now, the beers that you brew now, I saw you were a home brewer. Are these your homebrew recipes, or did other people contribute to these?
Yeah, so everything up until now have been my homebrew recipes, configured and twisted, torn apart, and spit back out by my guys to format to a commercial system.
Right.
But my homebrew recipes.
Okay.
Now we have 2 or 3 beers coming out soon that'll just be like brand new that we've formatted together as a team. But the Do Good Milk Street Stout I made as a home brewer. Our flagship beer, Do Good United Ale, I made as a home brewer. The Kenzo Sour as a home brewer. The Limoncello IPA. I mean, all those were all homebrew recipes.
All right. And then to scale up from here to the new 15, potentially 0.5 barrel system, is that something like you guys have been working on the recipes already, or like you just gonna go at it?
I don't know if I trust it.
Okay.
But my brew guy, Will, has an Excel spreadsheet, right, with my recipe formulation on there. And he said, listen, Tom, it's configured to where you can change the number in the top left-hand corner, and everything will auto-adjust to the grain bill. I said, Will, you sure about that? Because I didn't go to Sybil, but I read a couple $200 books, and I don't think
That's exactly
I don't
how it
think
works.
multiplication works. But I think once you do get to the commercial level, it almost works like that.
Yeah,
Right.
You know? So yeah, I think we are prepared for it. There's no doubt the first batch or two might be crappy, you know, and then we'll like just act like it's good and make it again. But there will be some trial and error.
Right.
Are there any new recipe? I know you said you have a couple coming out soon, but like, do you guys have anything in mind for new stuff with the new system then?
Yeah. So, trademarked. This is so I want
Patent pending.
I'm going to launch something called on that system. Two things. We're going to launch a Do Good Pounders, pounder cans, because we wanted to do the can project for a while, but the PA Mobile Canning Company were awesome guys. There's a minimum requirement, like a 5-barrel minimum, which we can't meet right now.
Yeah.
That will allow us to do that. So we'll have the Do Good Pounders coming out.
That's cool.
And then I've been wanting to launch Junto juice for like ever.
Junto
So
juice?
I don't know how educated you guys are with Ben Franklin, but so when Ben Franklin was in his 20s, 30s, he started a book club, like a private club called the Junto Club.
Okay.
So I want to call a beer called Junto juice, and it'll kind of like a framboise type, fruity type juice.
Right.
That we want to launch really bad.
Oh, that's cool.
But I want that to be also like a bottle can project. So we're too small for it now, but Junto juice will be
A
part of it.
framboise in a can. That
Yeah.
would be epic.
That would be pretty cool.
Well, because Steph just said that, it will be in a can, everybody.
Yes.
That would be
You
awesome.
heard it here first.
We're gonna sell our cans.
I love that. Now, you have owned other businesses prior to this brewery, haven't you?
Yeah, for sure. When I was 17, I started a nationwide flower company. It was like the evil person in the flower industry. We're called order gatherers. You know, we take in orders through advertising and then sell them to local flower shops. So I did. It's illegal now. It probably shows. It probably happened from my Kensington roots, selling cigarettes in school and DVDs on the corner. But you know what I did was I did something called 411 manipulation. I put like ads all over yellow books, like 8 florists in Chicago, 8 florists in Manhattan, in yellow pages. So when someone would call 411 and be like, I need a florist in Manhattan, I had a 1 in 5 chance of being the one to give them. The call would come into one of my girls in Philly, they get the sale, and then we'd sell it to a flower shop in Manhattan. You know, and get like a 15, 30%
Yeah, that sounds like
cut
it
on
should be illegal.
It wasn't. It was not at the time. I saw the wave towards illegality coming, so I sold the company when I was 19 to a place in Florida who did that on a bigger scale. I was doing like 40 sales a day. They were doing like 400 sales a day.
Wow.
So what they did is that they purchased my 401 illegal ads, and then they built whatever the hell they did with it.
Wow.
And then and when I sold the flower company, I started Brainstick Media, which is what I own now. It's a web development company, you know, with mobile apps and all that stuff. We have a team in Garnet Valley, Pennsylvania, that we do that with. So yeah, I mean,
And that's legal, right?
That's completely.
I don't know. I mean, we the new app we're building utilizes the AccuWeather API. I don't know if that's legal or not. So I'll find out.
Well, if they open it, like if they make it available.
Yeah, it's definitely cool. I hope my client's not listening to this at all. Because actually, 99% of my clients are like all over the country. This one actually is local, so like, I hope he's a Beer Buster fan, but I hope he's not.
Yeah, right.
And I have to point out, he's another Villanova grad.
I noticed that.
That
Yeah.
I'm
owns
not a
brewery.
Villanova grad.
Villanova MBA.
I'm trying to get my MBA.
Oh, you
Oh,
are
yeah.
future Villanova grad.
executive MBA.
That's right. You're
downtown.
still pretty young.
I don't know.
You've done a lot for how young you
I
are.
don't know.
Maybe.
It's kind of
Well,
impressive.
considering you started your first company at 17.
I know,
when I
right?
was 17, I was working basically minimum wage at a movie theater.
Yeah, I mean, I had a child real young, so it was like do something, you know. So I went in the Navy as a cryptologist.
Oh, wow.
I lied about having asthma. Probably another trait from Kensington. You know, they found out that I lied about having asthma because the summer in Chicago didn't fare well with my lungs. So yeah, I left there pretty early, and then I came back. I was like, all right, it's like I gotta do something. You know, full-time college student is not a choice when you got like a 1-year-old chilling in your basement. You know, so I had to make a choice. So I moved out.
I've heard of this thing you can do where you get investors and you take the money from your previous investors and you to pay off your new investors, and then apparently it works pretty well for a very long time.
I might try that actually.
It's some sort of scheme.
I
think it has a name.
Our current investors are lawyers and doctors, so I'm not pulling anything off on that.
There's no wool over their eyes.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much owning businesses prior like so much help with the brewery aspect of it, you know. But I mean, all it really did was I came into this already risk adverse. You know, like I'm used to.
Right.
throwing money and hoping it lives, hoping it dies, flying with it. So like, that definitely helped. Like not being fearful of what's to come.
Yeah.
None of my prior experiences really did anything for me.
Yeah. And I mean, it's great that you're doing, focusing on the local neighborhood and all that stuff. But the truth is, you are entering a crowded market. Craft brewing is only getting more crowded, so you have to be able to take risks and be willing to take those risks.
Yeah, when I first got licensed, it might be a lie now. I don't think it was a lie then, but because it's a crowded market, I like to try and segment it however I can. So I'm like, there's a lot of breweries, but like I think we're like only one of 3 brewery manufacturers in Philadelphia. That might be like 4 or 5 or 6 now. I don't know, but there's not many brewery manufacturers.
Right.
Like guys who brew beer and distribute beer.
Right.
There's a crap ton of like brew pubs opening up. But they're awesome places. But they're restaurants that make beer.
Yeah.
Like brewery manufacturers with the sole purpose of making great beer and distributing great beer as regionally as possible is a whole other segment.
Yeah.
And there's not many of those in this city.
Yeah.
And it lets you focus more on the beer aspect instead of also having to worry about the food aspect of it then too. I mean, the people that do it and are successful with it, they have great both food and beer.
Yeah.
But I also like the way that you're starting off local with it, because if you start local, I feel like you're more likely to grow from there. Yeah. Which I really like. You got to think global but act local, which even goes back to the charities that you do too.
Sounds like a hashtag.
So are you going to make a beer that goes towards asthma? I kind of feel like you owe that.
Maybe like me in a sailor hat as like the logo.
Yes.
And it's like a little quote bubble that says assholes.
I feel like then all will be forgiven.
Yeah, I probably will do one with asthma.
All right,
maybe
Another for struggling flower merchants.
Pedal pusher IPA.
Pedal pusher. Right, look at that.
Oh my god.
Perfect.
I like
Trademark.
That. My lungs hurt stout. Yeah, put the TM on that.
You could do a Rauch
Trademark.
beer.
There you go.
Albuterol ale. that will be registered tonight.
That you may not be able to do.
Wait, you add a Z at the end? Isn't that how it works? If you add a Z at the end, it's okay?
It's okay, yeah. Maybe,
Just like put a Y in there somewhere instead of an I. But I'm anxious for the things that you have ahead of you. It seems like you already have good head on your shoulders where you are. You're concentrating on the beer, and you're making sure the local neighborhood embraces it first, which is fantastic. Instead of trying to, take over the world.
You
right
have
off the bat.
no idea how cool it is to not only sell beer and like have someone drink your beer, but to sell a beer and when you sell that beer, see Coors or Miller or Bud or Yuengling. Not so much Yuengling. I like you Yuengling, but like those guys get kicked off of tap. Because when I go to these corner bars, that's all they have. They have 6 of the same beer. So like it's not like another craft beer's coming off. One of those other guys are coming off. I'm kicking Miller off, or I'm kicking Coors off. Now that's enjoyment.
Got to be a good feeling.
That's enjoyment, and trust me, that pissed a lot of people off. Because after we got past like the 10-bar level, 11-bar level, and you start seeing bright green tap handles in a few places, the reps for those other places started talking as much trash as they could on Do Good Brewing.
Wow.
Like, I don't think that beer's registered. Your bar's going to be shut down. I don't think everything they could to the bar owners.
Wow.
Because their lives depend on the sales of those big brewery companies.
Yeah.
So it feels so good they kicked them the hell off.
Tell them to move to Kentucky and sell bells. That's where the money's at.
Or
Oberon
North Dakota.
can move in here.
Yeah.
Very cool, very cool. Well, I know we've got some other things to get to. I'm anxious because now I really want to try those beers. But first, I believe we have a game we need to play.
We do indeed.
Is this embarrass the guest segment?
Embarrass ourselves.
No, Dan and I are pretty terrible at the games.
Yeah.
I don't think a break, guys, right?
Yeah, me too. So, Wayne, what game do we have?
Well, Dan, today in Happy Fun Time Games, I'm not motivated until I hear the music. Thank you, no Maestro. Today we are playing a brand new game that doesn't have a name because it's kind of lame, and it would be a shame if I
Messed
had
up the games.
A stain.
He clearly
on
did not
my-
write an intro.
No, I did not. Welcome to another exciting edition of Happy Fun Time Games, where all your base are belong to us, and we will do it with great justice.
This is called Are You Smarter Than a BJCP Judge?
This is very good. That's a good name. I'm going to remember that. Are you smarter than a BJCP judge? So today's game, I am going to describe to you a style of beer, and you are all going to write down your answers as to what style you think I am speaking of, and then we will see who is right and who is just stupid face. So we are going to start.
Stupid face.
Right here.
We are going to start to my right. For the first time ever in a beer
so hard.
in a Beer Busters first. We're going to start to my right with Dan. Actually, we're not going to start to my right with Dan because you're all writing the answers down.
That's
at the
true,
same time,
yeah.
so it doesn't matter. So our first style of beer, I'm going to describe, and you need to tell me what you think it is. This is a very strong and often intense style. In fact, it's one of the strongest of beer styles. It's lively and fruity, sometimes sweet, sometimes bittersweet, but always alcoholic. Expect anything from an amber to dark brown colored beer, with aromas ranging from intense fruits to intense hops. Body is typically thick. Alcohol will definitely be perceived, and flavors can range from dominant fruits to palate-smacking resiny hops. Average ABVs for this style sit at the top from 8 to 15% or more. What style of beer do you think that is?
Come on, man.
For further clue for our struggling contestants, there is an American and English version of this style, and they are very different. Things they have in common are high ABV, high alcohol content.
Do we tell you now?
I don't know.
Do we shout stuff out?
Does everybody have an answer?
I do.
Does everybody have an answer?
I don't even know if there's a beer style. The first word that came to my mind.
Okay.
Can we
All
talk
right.
more about what I make?
All right, why don't we start with you, Tom? What did you think
So
it was?
as you're talking, the first thing in my mind was a triple. That's what came to my mind.
Okay, solid guess. Dan, what was your guess?
Triple?
Yeah, he's just going to say what Tom said. Steph?
Barley wine.
Steph is correct.
Damn it,
That is
come
a
on,
barley
thinking
wine
that.
I was describing. Very good, very good. I had a feeling Steph might
I gotta
dominate
pay attention
this
to
game.
the words in your description. I just feel like strong,
Strong,
lots of hops,
alcohol, maybe
could
hops,
be fruity,
maybe fruity.
which threw me off a lot.
Yeah. Well, I tried to give you a little hit because English barley wines and American barley wines are very different in character. I thought that might be a little bit of a hint, but it didn't help.
Yeah, for
apparently.
Steph it was, obviously.
I think she had it before that. All right, moving on to our next style of beer. This is a sturdy ale that was traditionally brewed in the winter to be consumed throughout the summer months. Not so long ago, it was close to being an endangered style, but over recent years, there's been a massive revival, especially in the United States. It's a very complex style. Many are very fruity in the aroma and flavor. Look for earthy, yeasty tones, mild to moderate tartness, lots of spice, and with a medium bitterness. They tend to be semi-dry, with many only having a touch of sweetness. The average ABV of this style has a fairly wide range between 5 and 8%.
I think I might. I shouldn't even have said that because now I'm even dumber for getting it wrong. But that's a bad intro. Could it be a farmhouse ale?
Could it be? I don't know. Dan, what did you think?
I actually wrote Saison.
You wrote Saison, and finally, Steph.
I said Bach.
You are wrong. The gentlemen at the table are correct. It's farmhouse
all right.
ale or Saison, one of my favorite
Yay.
styles of beer. Okay, so the game's a little more balanced than I was afraid it might be. All right, moving on to our next style. And this is a style that was first brewed in Bohemia, a German-speaking province in the old Austrian Empire. It is one of the most popular style of lager beers in Germany and many other countries. Classic versions of this style are very light straw to golden in color. Head should be dense and rich. They are also well hopped, brewed using noble hops such as Saaz, Hellertauer, Mittelfrüh, Tettnanger, Styrian Golding, Spalt, Pearl, and Hersbrucker. These varieties exhibit a spicy herbal or floral aroma and flavor, oftentimes a bit coarse on the palate, and distribute a flash of citrus-like zest. Hop bitterness can sometimes be high. The average ABVs for this style of beer are generally around 4 to 5.5%. Any guesses?
I mean, what came to my mind right away, I can't think of a word, but I'm waiting for someone to say it.
Okay.
But I have a feeling it's like a really popular style of lager.
Okay.
Like when you think of lager, I gotta think of the word. It's on the tip of my tongue. Steph, say it.
Well, I don't know. I was going back and forth until you said 4 to 5%. So now I'm thinking a Helles.
Okay, Steph's saying a Helles. Dan, what do you think?
Pilsner?
Dan saying a
that's-
Pilsner.
That's the
what I
word.
was-
Oh, and the gentlemen are correct again. It is a
I knew it
traditional
was a super-
German Pilsner.
Pils.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, traditional German Pilsner. Yes. Oh, surprising turnout in this game. I don't know. Steph might dominate moving forward because
No,
the next ones I
stop saying
deliberately
that.
tried to make a little bit more obscure and difficult. So our next style of beer is quite an old drink. It is actually mentioned in Chaucer's Canterbury Tales in the late 1300s.
Because I know that.
There are earlier references dating even further back to the 12th century in Ireland. It is simply made, and this is where the clues come in, it is made by blending spices and herbs with mead and beer to produce a strong concoction with uncommon flavors. Many taverns would make this blend right at the bar, though brewers would also blend them as well. There should be a balance between the honey character and the malty flavor, with the hop bitterness not overpowering the sweetness, yet should be noticeable. Today, they may or may not be spiced. Their ABVs range widely from 6 to 12%. A blending of mead and beer is your biggest clue. What
Pumpkin
style?
ale.
Pumpkin ale. Is that your final answer?
It's better than saying I have no idea.
Okay, fair enough. Dan, what do you think?
Double.
Double? Okay, Dan's saying double. Steph? Or double?
Double.
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 Come on, Steph. I know you know this.
I know. I don't know.
Think, actually, I might be wrong. So maybe I won't give you that clue. Never mind.
There's a lot of confusing things in that description.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
Well, a blend of spices, herbs, meat, and beer.
But then you say, could be spice, could not be spice.
Well, modern versions, traditionally, but the mead and beer blend is really the key.
Yeah, it's easy because you have the answer in front of you.
I know, I wouldn't know it if I didn't, but I'm gonna have to ask you for your final answer.
I don't know.
You don't know? Pick a style out of your. Pick one out
Just
of
do
your.
what I did. Be comedic so that you're less dumb.
That's usually a good.
Pumpkin
That's
ale.
usually a good strategy. If you can't be smart, be funny.
Okay, a smoked goat brain beer.
A smoked goat brain beer. No, this is in fact
would've
a
put money on
braggot.
Oh.
A braggot, everyone.
I like how you both
Braggot.
said, and I'm like, yeah, what?
I had one at Turkey Hill Brewing not that long ago.
There you go.
I had
Okay.
Turkey Hill iced tea earlier.
So did I.
Their sweet tea is really good. One of my new favorite teas. Okay, moving on to our next style, and this is a variation of a style in the late 1700s that were quite strong compared to today's standards, easily surpassing 7% ABV. Some brewers made a stronger, more robust version to be shipped across the North Sea. In general, the style's dark brown color covered up cloudiness, and the smoky roasted brown malts and bitter taste masked brewing imperfections. The addition of stale ale also lent a pleasant acidic flavor to the style, which made it quite popular. These issues were quite important given that most breweries were getting away from pub brewing and opening breweries that could ship beer across the world. Alcohol content averages rather high, between 7 and 10%. What style of beer am I speaking of? I emphasized the most important clue if you were paying attention.
I was
And
not.
I think Steph heard it.
Oh, I heard the clue. I just don't know.
Steph's on top of it. She looks confident right
Steph,
now.
what's your answer?
She does look confident. Gentlemen,
Steph, go first.
I'm going to have to ask you to go first. I've been picking on Dan, so Tom, why don't you go first?
Come on.
Think of, it's a style of beer. It's in a variation of another style of beer. So it's a something where the second something is another style of beer that could stand alone. So if you were to say,
you're going to confuse them even
I'm
more.
still on geographically where's the North Sea.
so if you were to say, if I were to say a Belgian IPA is a variation of an IPA, this is a similar thing. So pick a style of beer and put another word in front of it.
Oh, God, man. Milk stout.
Milk stout, okay.
Not a
okay.
bad guess.
Not a bad guess. Not a bad guess. Wrong, but not a bad guess. Dan.
Brown ale.
Brown ale? Not too bad. Not too bad. Steph, I think you know. I know you know the answer.
Baltic Porter.
Baltic
Oh.
Porter is the correct answer.
okay, I get
The
it.
clue being the Baltic Sea, the North Sea, the Baltic. Okay, our final one, which I'm pretty sure no one is going to get correctly. This is said to be one of the only primitive beers to survive in Western Europe. It is a farmhouse ale with roots in Finland. First brewed by peasants in the 1500s, mashing went down in wooden barrels, and then that mash would be scooped into a hand-carved wooden trough with a bed of juniper twigs that acted as a filter.
Oh my God, I read about this beer.
The sweet wort would pass through the
Oh
twig
my
filter,
God.
followed by wort recirculation and a hot water sparge, all of which created a juniper infusion of sorts. It is also referred to as being turbid because the wort is not boiled after lautering, leaving loads of proteins behind, thus providing a tremendous body. A low flocculating finished baker's yeast creates a cloudy, unfiltered beer with an abundance of sediment. It has lots of floaty bits. It is not traditionally hopped, so the task of balancing is left up to those juniper twigs, which impart an unusually resiny character and also act as a preservative. This juniper hopped sort of beer is called what?
I think you just described the basis for Junto juice. I'm stealing that immediately
Fair
after
enough.
this.
Well, if you do, this is the style you have to register it as.
We've even talked about this.
we have, because they would make some of the baskets out of women's
Okay,
hair.
if everybody's really stumped, I will give you a clue. Dogfish Head
I was
has
going to
a
say, I
beer
bet Dogfish Head brewed
has
it.
a beer that is pronounced the same as this style, but spelled slightly differently.
Oh, God.
And that variation in spelling has to do with another brewed beverage that is not alcoholic.
Sati?
Yes! You are correct, and nobody else gets a chance because you blurted it out first. And you were right.
Salty
is the correct answer.
Oh my god!
Yes,
I hate this game.
I like this game. It was fun. I think we all learned a lot.
Comeback by Steph.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I know.
So adding up the points
We felt
here.
smart for about 6 seconds.
Actually, everybody did. I mean,
We
not
did pretty well.
fantastically, and like nobody got like only one
thanks,
wrong.
Debbie
But
Downer.
I do. If I was not the one hosting this game, I would have done terribly. But Steph got 3 correct, obviously making her the winner, which I don't think is a surprise. But Dan and Tom came in second place with 2 points apiece,
I'll take it.
which I think is a pretty respectable showing. I think a dog has just entered the room. I believe that was a husky. That was pretty awesome.
It's part of our next brew.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh.
So
Duff Brow needs more dog.
I hope you guys enjoyed this new game.
I think it was an awesome game.
I hope it wasn't too torturous. You won.
It hurt. It
You
hurt a
won,
little bit.
and you got
It's
saté.
painful, though.
You got saté. I had to kind of spoon feed it to you, but you got it.
If there weren't so many eyes on the table, I would have been Googling. But
Next time we get the guidelines in front of us, right?
Yeah, all those descriptions, by the way, were taken and adapted to not give the answer away from Beer Advocate. Just so you know.
Well, that hurt. So, Steph.
No. Your beers. No, your beers.
Steph, you're about to teach me something that I should have known a long time ago, but what do we got?
During this installment of Know Your Beer, we're going to talk about storing your beer. Many beers benefit from extended aging, like vintage beers, barley wines, imperial stouts, Belgian strong ales, lambics, old ales, and so on. And these beers can sit for a year or two or even more in order to build complexities. Our friends at Beer Advocate have spelled out some great advice for starting a beer cellar. First, of course, you'll need to maintain enough patience and willpower so you won't drink them too early. Next,
That's the hardest part for me.
No, me too. Next, buy at least 2 of each beer. One you'll want to drink immediately, so you'll have a comparison with which to judge the aged one, and the other beer should be cellared for at least a year. When storing your beer, all beer should be stored upright. I know some people believe that corked beer should be kept on its side in order to keep the cork from drying out, and others believe it really doesn't matter. But cork cells are impregnated with a waxy material called suberin, and that is almost impermeable to water or gases. Cork is also buoyant due to the presence of trapped air in the cavities of the waterproof dead cells. When cut, these cells act as suction cups and become adhesive, thus making them ideal bottle stoppers. Natural cork is sometimes prone to drying out. However, today's modern plastic synthetic, screw cap, agglomerated, technical, encapsulated corks are a lot less prone to shrinkage, to the point where it's not even worth worrying about. The inside of the bottle already contains its own humidity level, and as a result will not dry out the portion of the cork inside the bottle if stored properly. Storing a beer on its side can create a yeast ring inside the bottle which will not settle. Storing a beer upright will ensure that the yeast compacts to the bottom of the bottle. The upright storage method also decreases the amount of exposed beer, thus slowing oxidation of the beer. Another good reason is that long exposure to the cork can impart cork flavors into the beer. The alcohol in beer draws out that moldy, musty character of the cork and can in fact taint the beer. Natural cork can also harbor certain fungal bacteria which are believed to create the off-flavor compound called TCA, which creates a dull-tasting beer. Now, where to store your beer? Beer should never...
In your belly.
Of course. Beer should never come into contact with heat or light. Store your beer in a cool area away from direct light sources of heat and in a constant temperature environment. Usually around 50 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit is ideal for most beers. Higher temperatures and you'll risk shortening the lifespan of your beer, and lower and you'll induce chill haze. To get a little more specific, strong beers like your barley wines, triples, and dark ales will be happiest at room temperature, 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Most standard ales like bitters, IPAs, doppelbocks, lambics, stouts will be at cellar temperature, 50 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit. And the lighter beers like lagers, pilsners, wheat beers, milds, and so on will be at refrigerated temperature, 45 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Usually the higher the alcohol, the higher the temperature. Lower alcohol, lower temperature. A compromise is to at least store these beers, ideally at a slightly higher temperature in a closet away from light and environmental changes, or to try to stay within that 50 to 55 50 to 55 degree range. Storing beers long-term in refrigerators is not recommended, and I am guilty of this.
No, I do
I'm
too.
guilty too.
Well, no, you have beer fridges. I just have a fridge.
Yeah, I
And
do
it's,
have
like, from the
3 beers with
70s.
3 different temperatures. But refrigerators are designed to keep food dry, so dehydration of cork can become an issue, whether laid down or upright.
Oh, and as a second note, I'm sorry to interrupt. My 1970s refrigerator, the biggest shelf is not big enough to store bomber bottles upright.
No, I have to put my bombers on the door.
Yeah, me too.
Corked beers that you wish to age long-term should be kept in a cellar, where moderate humidity levels might be more appropriate. For more information about cellaring your beers, check out beeradvocate.com.
So you're saying I should be afraid of the beer that I found in the back of my fridge the other day?
Well, what's the worst that can happen? Open it, sip it. If it's bad, dump it.
for it.
That's what I said. Yeah,
I'm probably going to go for it soon. Yeah. Well, that was educational. And you know what? I think I'm thirsty now.
Beer me! Beer me! Beer me! Beer me!
Hey, Dan,
Hi.
we should beer.
We should beer.
We should beer.
When are we beering?
Now.
Oh, okay.
When will then be now? So we're starting off with the United Ale, right?
Yes. Sir.
All right. I'm very excited about this one. This was the one that that benefits child poverty, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very cool. I like the smell of this.
Oh, thank you.
It smells really, really good. I haven't taken a sip yet. I'm anxious. Ooh. I like that.
What do you think?
I like it. I like it.
so amazing.
Best thing I've
I
ever
can see
had.
why it's in 50 bars.
Yeah.
It's that subtle hint of citrus, which
That's what I
takes
like.
it beyond just
Yeah.
a normal cream ale.
And then
Yep.
for me, the hop flavor kind of rounds it out at the end. The hop bitterness of
A
it,
little
which
bit of
is
bitterness.
yeah,
And
It gives it
spiciness.
like an unexpected slight tartness, I think.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
But it's nice.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to live myself if I didn't introduce some kind of hopness to it. You know, the goal of this being a flagship beer, because we're going to local corner bars, I didn't want to intimidate nobody. Like, if I wanted to be the one to take out Yingling or take out Coors with those kind of people, you know, I need something that can easily be introduced. You know, if I launch with an IPA or a Milk Stout or a triple,
Yeah.
they'll be like, oh, get the hell out of my bar.
Right.
This one can be an introduction to the guy who's never had craft beer before.
Right, yeah, definitely. It is easy drinking. It's got the hop flavor, but it's not super intense like, you know, like a double IPA or
And
even an
if
IPA.
you're a football guy or whatever, and you want to have 5, 6, 8 beers while you're sitting there, this is something you could drink many.
Yeah,
of.
yeah, you can down pretty easy. And it's at about 5 points
Question mark?
ish something percent.
7.2. No, no.
yeah.
No, it's 5.5.
5.5.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alright.
yeah. So it's nice. Not it's slightly outside of sessionable,
but still doable.
but still very doable. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, still very doable.
I would drink
Is that
this
the
while
last
watching
one?
football.
Sessionable, doable. What's next?
fall overable.
And then Dan Baker session.
and then Dan Sessionable goes up to like 15%, and then whiskey is the next
Ooh,
level.
I got habanero vodka
Of course you
from
did.
Ballast
Of course
Point.
you did. Of course you did.
So we'll have to have that on the show.
I really
sometime.
thought you were just going to say, I got habanero hints in this. I was like, big mistake. Pause.
Something's not right. Something's not right. So yeah, actually, it's kind of funny because you weren't sure if you had any of this around that we could drink because it is your top selling.
Yeah, like
Top-selling
we
beer.
can go from like 11 kegs to 0 kegs like out of nowhere. Like
Yeah.
because so many of the bars do carry this as the only beer they carry, it can just like fly. And not because like the best beer in the world and it's super popular, it's just because most of the bars I'm in carry it. So I might get a call one day for 8 of them, and then boom, we're out of United
Right.
Ale.
And it is a very good flagship beer. It's not super crazy. It's not over the top with anything. It's nice and easy drinking. It's nice and well balanced. And
I try to give it some body with the honey. We use a lot of honey in this, which try to gives you a little bit of body in there and some flavor.
the citrus character that Steph mentioned is really nice.
Yeah, it makes it very refreshing when you
Yeah.
drink it.
And we went up 20% on the orange, like the first 4, but it was like up 20% second batch, up 20% again. I was like, I want more. So now we found the level that we like.
Good. Yeah,
And
it comes through really well.
It complements
Thank
the
you.
hop character really well, I think. Yeah,
Appreciate
yeah.
it.
It'd be good in a can.
In a can.
I don't have that one.
Dan has his mini soundboard today.
Yeah,
so
I
we
left
don't
the
have
iPad at home, and
we
while
don't-
home is not too far away, there was still a lot of traffic.
Hold on, I
between
got
here
you, I
and
got
home.
you.
It's Philly. It's 3 times as far.
All right, use that.
I like
There
that.
you go, the human soundboard.
I love it. Soundboard on demand.
Well, it's kind of the purpose of a soundboard.
Well,
anyway.
yeah.
I mean, whether
So what you're getting ready to taste is our limoncello IPA. It's the Birra Forte limoncello
Ooh.
IPA.
Say that again.
Birra Forte, which means hard beer in Italian.
All right.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
So the brand name is supposed to be Cidro d'Oro, but in Italy, I found out my last trip to Italy that kind of has like a slang, not so cool meaning to it. So I was like driving in the car through Spoleto, and they're like, "What are you gonna call your beer?" I'm like, "Caesar Duro." They're like, "Don't you dare call your." on that trip through the mountains, we called it Birra Forte.
Okay.
Nice.
It rolls off the tongue nicely.
Now, you
Birra
poured
Forte.
this from a bottle. Is this only available in bottles, or do you
No,
keg
kegs
this
available.
also?
All the kegs are gone. We made 3 batches, like 40 or so kegs, and like they went so damn quick. They come on buying and buying and buying. I don't know why. I mean, obviously I know why. It's amazing, but
that's why.
But like it was like really popular. Maybe it was because of summer. Like people kept wanting to get the limoncello IPA. But like, the next batch and batch after that will definitely be a lot better. Because one thing that happened with this beer is we didn't know exactly how to achieve the limoncello. You know, like you're going into like, how do we do this? So we started out with like just lemon peel. Then lemon peel gave it just bitter lemon. You know, and then the bitter lemon with the hops made like super intense bitter, too much more than what we wanted. So then we said, okay, next batch we'll try like a lemon extract or lemon juice, something like that, to mix in to give it a lemon sweetness, which is one inside the fermenter, and we'll see if that's more sweeter. So we'll adjust it accordingly. But this is the first version of the year tasting, because the first version we bottled.
Okay.
We've since done 2 more versions.
I really like the bitterness of the lemon peel.
I was going to say,
the bitterness of the hops.
the actual lemon flavor is pretty subtle, and maybe that's coming off the citrus of the last beer too. Might be
That's true.
interfering a
I
little
see
bit,
that.
but you do get like the zesty bitterness, but it's not like too much bitterness. It's nice.
Yeah,
it's sort of a crisp bitterness.
Like when I talk to like avid homebrew guys, like I sit down with other like beer guys, and they taste it like, oh, I like the lemon because like the bitter lemon, like they kind of get what we're trying to do. But if you're like a beer loving guy, it kind of becomes a fail, you know, because when you hear limoncello IPA, you're thinking lemon, like a lemon drop, you know, like so like when we did our launch event at Bottle Bar East, you know, like and we got like rave reviews. It was good reviews. Like people like the beer. But like I've had like 6 people come outside while I'm outside having a cigarette. They're like, dude, where's the lemon? I'm like, there's lemon there, man. I promise you.
You should do 2 different versions. You should do this one and call it
sugary lemon drop lemon.
Dude, where's the lemon? And then Birra Forte.
Oh my god, trademark right now.
There you go, trademark.
Do good, dude. Where's the lemon?
I think that's the title of this episode.
We'll be like insanely lemony-ish. I'll like literally drop a bag of lemon drops in there, lemon juice, lemon extract, and lemon peel, and then I'll be like, do you taste the lemon now?
Do you taste the lemon? And that's gonna be the tagline. Dude, where's the lemon? Do you taste the lemon now? I like it.
Oh my
No, but I mean, I'm involved. You know, obviously, I told you I went to Italy a couple times. I'm involved in the Italian importing world, olive oil and balsamic and stuff like that.
Nice. Yeah.
You know, so like that's why I try to integrate that in some of our beer. That's why we launched the Birra Forte brand. There'll be like 5 Italian themed beers coming out in the future.
Oh, cool.
You know, like, that'll kind of follow along with it. You know, so that's why we launched this beer. You know, because I have a lot of connections in like the Philly restaurant world, Italian restaurants. I wanted something to offer them, not just bottle shops, something they could sell to people eating pasta or some chicken.
I was just gonna say this would actually, now that you mentioned this, would pair well with like Italian food, like a nice hearty pasta dish.
Yeah, I always
or something,
keep 5 or 6 in my fridge, like, because I cook Italian food like all the damn time. You know, like if I'm making chicken parm or some like truffle pasta or something like that, I always crack open the limoncello.
Nice.
So can people in the Philly area buy bottles of this? Or
Yeah, Bottle Bar East got it. The bottle shop inside Thriftway in Port Richmond got it. The Bottle Shop on Passyunk got it. Those are the 3 that come to mind right away that have the bottles for sale. And then you'll find it sporadically through restaurants. Restaurants are very thrifty. So something new they do not want to spend a lot of money on.
Yeah.
So like the restaurants will buy like a case with like 12 bottles and like you don't know if they have it still or not. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to name restaurants because they might not have it. But those 3 places should have it to buy and bottle.
What charity does this one support?
So selfishly enough, this one supports just Italian people, just like the Italian Association. We give the money to. That's what the whole Birra Forte brand will go towards. So there's a lot of, and that's not insanely selfish because it's not like just because like if you're Italian, we'll give you money. It's so there's a lot of like little Italian associations out there all throughout Philly too that like give free lessons on how to speak Italian.
That's cool.
You know, stuff like that. So like we help those classes because their free classes are like $15 a session or whatever.
Right.
So like we're gonna try and help them like get better books, get better CDs. You know, help you with Italian, you know, stuff like that.
Like Italian
keep your
cultural.
heritage here. Keep that
Yeah.
culture alive. That's important.
Yeah,
I do think
all the Do Good brands, like the word Do Good's not in front of this beer. All the Do Goods will have like regular charities. This one's like just for Italian people.
What's the charity?
If you're not Italian, leave now, please.
I think you should use part of the proceeds from this beer should go to your trip to Italy to take the place of the Pope when he comes so that you can live in Vatican City while he's in Philly.
Yeah, instead of giving him like another crappy like Liberty Bell, can we give him one of these?
That would be awesome. That would be a really good idea.
Nice. I like the logo on the bottle as well. Is that going to be consistent with the
everything on
the
here?
Birra Forte brand.
Everything you see will be exactly the same except for the lemon tree.
The lemon tree.
So that will adjust according to the beer and maybe the background color. Mm-hmm. So like our next version of this, which will be our next beer launch, probably maybe not. We just do crazy stuff sometimes. But the next version of this will be the Birra Forte Balsamic Blonde Ale.
Ooh,
and we're gonna
interesting.
We're gonna put 60-year-old balsamic into the beer, just directly.
Wow,
into
really?
That sounds awesome.
That'll be the next Birra Forte launch.
And when is that coming out?
We're hoping to have it out in the fall. We'll probably brew it in the next 3 or 4 weeks, and then we'll see if you like it. If you like it, it might be out sooner. If we don't like it, we'll redo it. But sometime in the fall. Yeah, I don't know what the hell balsamic is going to do to my beer. Like I poured young acidic balsamic, like an IGP rated AA version balsamic, like 8 to 10 years old, and it came out like really weird. I did it to a farmhouse ale, and like everyone drank it, was like, "Oh, this is so good." But they were probably lying on my face. I didn't like it that much, so we'll see what happens. Like, I'm putting the good stuff in this batch, so I don't know what's going to happen.
Wow.
But it'll be a blonde ale because all the people, like, if you talk to anyone from Italy, they'll be like, "Oh, what style would you make? Blonde?" That's like the only style in Italy. It's like blonde. You make a blonde, so I got to make a blonde for them. So this will be a blonde.
I can't wait to try it.
Yeah.
I feel like you need to put like a basil leaf on the rim of the glass or something.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Well, the third trademark, the third one in this will be like a tomato and basil beer.
Oh wow.
So
Nice.
so funny enough, so you're not allowed to import tomatoes from Italy unless there's basil in there, because it's like a rule with like our tomato production locally. Like we can't. There's like a big tariff or whatever if you do import without basil. So like every Italian producer that makes tomatoes or grows tomatoes, they put like one basil leaf on the top of the can. It's like
and then it's
peeled tomatoes to basil. It's like so it'll be a tomato and basil beer after that.
Sounds great.
Again, don't know what the hell will happen, but we'll find out.
When we were in California, the one hotel Rich and I stayed at, they had these crazy infused waters in the lobby, and the one day they had strawberry basil infused water. It was actually really good.
Strawberry basil.
Strawberry and basil.
That's weird.
That's an
It
odd
would make an
combination.
interesting beer, though.
Isn't water hard enough to drink? It's like, I don't know. That's a very fat guy thing to say. But
I don't know. I drink a lot of water. But I'm just saying, a strawberry basil beer might be really interesting.
strawberry basil.
I can't imagine strawberry and basil going well together.
It works. I know. Well, just like lavender and blueberry.
Strawberry
Like we
fields
talked
of
about
basil.
before. It's so
Strawberry, yeah,
good.
yeah.
Do good strawberry fields of basil.
There you
Coming
go.
out soon.
Forever.
Forever.
All right. Sounds good.
Forever.
I buried.
I want to make a mint beer so bad. You guys, do mint beers, are they out there?
I'm
I don't know
sure
that I've
they
ever,
are, but I don't
think
know
we've
that
had
I've
Sure.
some that have peppermint.
I've had like a peppermint stout.
Do good, check your breath. Could be like,
Too good.
right?
There you go.
Yes,
right?
I
Think
like
about
that.
it. All right, you can cancel that out of the show later.
Check your breath.
Speaking of mint, I do actually, and this is totally random, but it reminded me of it. And I want to give a shout out. I met a woman recently in my day job who actually makes locally in Pennsylvania, actually in like the Hamburg area, makes local mint tea. And it's called Pure Wild Tea. She grows her own mint. They've got a whole farm. They're right up against like national game lands, and they grow different varieties of mint, and they make tea out of it. And it's really like pure and natural. There's no preservatives. Actually, she pitched it to sell in the restaurant where I work. And one of the things she said was, if you sell this here, it must be refrigerated all the time because there are no preservatives in it.
Yeah.
And she gave us a sample. She's got 3 different varieties, both sweetened and unsweetened, and they're very good. And so it just reminded me of that.
You said they grow mint?
They grow mint. They have a
Might
big
be an
farm.
awesome source to get the mint if I do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That'd
Pure
be a
Wild
cool
Tea
idea.
is called. Yeah, yeah. And they make their own mint tea, and they're local, and it's really cool. Really cool.
I know there's some really cool comments.
Don't do it. Don't go on
It
the
was
tap.
pretty.
Don't do
no,
it.
I was going to say, actually, funny enough, I hated it so much, I've deleted the app I'm like, where, just so I won't go to it when I'm bored. You know, like 8 beers in at 1 o'clock in the morning. Fucking untapped bastards.
It's a game for me.
Read the one. Well, not now, of course. We have things to do in the show. Later on, read the milk stout ones because they're pretty awesome.
Now because we have things
doing a show.
So what happens? Do we break for the Kenzo Sour?
Yeah, I guess we should do that.
Yeah, we got things to do.
We got things to do. I love how he's moving the show along. I know. Guys, we got things to do. Come on.
This is the Do Good Kenzo Sour.
It's got an interesting smell, and I like the taste of it. It's really, really good. Not, I don't want to say interesting bad. It's like interesting, like kind of invites you in for that sip.
Yeah.
If you happen to smell it first. If you don't, then you just go for the sip anyway.
I'm not one of those beer snobs that own a brewery and be like, I'm sorry.
It's the internet. You can say fuck.
My fucking beer is the best in the world. You better like it. I'm not one of those beer snobs. Like, I will tell you, if you are a sour connoisseur, saison connoisseur, and you're a beer, you may not make this your favorite sour. You may be like, not my favorite. But if you're a person who goes to a bar, a girl or a man, who says, I want to order a sour because I want something that's like really tart and refreshing, cold. I want one of those beers. This will satisfy that need.
Oh yeah.
Because I drink this beer a lot personally. Like, if I'm not in the mood for a heavy beer or a honey type beer or something stout like that, and I want something refreshing because I'm hot, I drink the shit out of this beer. So like, if you're a very high end, sophisticated sour person, you may give me a 1 star and say nah. But I've been getting a lot of...
You probably give me a nah.
You probably give me a nah.
You probably give me a now.
Probably give me a nah, bro.
But a lot of people seem to enjoy it. Like my wife really loves this beer. All her friends really love this beer. So like, we kept on making it. People really enjoy the Kenzo Sour. I personally really enjoy the Kenzo Sour.
And you get the flavor that you would get from a sour without that puckering, overwhelming.
It's not very.
It doesn't sting.
Doesn't hit the jowls.
It doesn't sting the jowls. Yeah.
It doesn't sting.
It doesn't
the jowls.
sting the jowls,
Which
is nice.
For
sometimes.
record, what is a jowl?
It's like your jowls are like the flap of skin here, but I guess your salivary glands are like up in the back of your throat here. Like, if you ever drank a sour and like you feel that stinging sensation back there. Yeah, this doesn't give you that.
I gotta admit, you guys are the fucking best. because so many beer names are being formulated right now.
Oh, glad we can help.
That I will never give you credit for it.
Fair enough.
Well, you kind of just did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Unless you cut it out.
We
right?
have it on record.
Wow.
We're worried about the site for you to cut it out. that part.
Too late now.
But what do you think, man?
It's actually kind of good.
I like it. I like it a lot.
It's good. And I know I kind of said jokingly earlier, and I think it may have been in an outtake or something. But it has a little tomatoey, ketchup character
aroma
to it. That, like, it sounds weird, but it's not bad. Like, it's interesting. Like, I could actually, like, we talked about the limoncello IPA with some Italian food, but like, if you took this with like a plain old plate of spaghetti and meatballs, I think it'd be pretty good.
Now you got me thinking, man, because I think we were eating Santucci's tomato pie the day we brewed this. If we leaned over a little too far,
maybe maybe that's what happened.
Oh, no.
Sometimes we just hang by the kettle,
Let's put some basil in it and see what happens.
Yes, I got it in the trunk.
Of course you do, you crazy Italian. That could be another title. I got basil in my trunk.
I really like it. I don't know.
No, it's
Just
good.
basil for short.
But what you said in the beginning, Steph, should be your exact Untapped rating comment. I sort of kind of like it.
All right.
It's actually good.
I sort of kind of like it.
And you're actually doing it right now, aren't you?
Yep.
But it has like the tartness of a sour without that severe, intense puckeriness.
Yeah.
But it does have like a savoriness to it as well.
This would have been, if I hadn't been trained to like sours, this would have been the sour that made me like sours.
Oh my God! Thank you so much, man. I think that's a good comment.
It is. No, it is.
It's not super intense.
Yeah, because the first sour that we had on the show.
Well, that was a sour IPA as well. It was kind of a weird style.
Yeah.
Was that the first sour we did on the show?
I think so.
The Magic Hat?
It was.
Yeah.
Apparently, I made a face like no humans ever
It was
made.
our Wild Ale Sours episode.
I used to hate sours. I couldn't stand them, but
Yeah.
I've been trained to like them now. It's like Pavlov's sour.
Yes.
I mean, it's rare. I mean, I try to like educate myself on many different spectrums, so it's pretty rare like when my eyes glaze over on a subject. I can usually chime in some way and sound educated, but like when my head brewer Will goes into like talking about the different styles of sour and how they make them, especially when fruit's involved, I glaze completely the hell over. Like I'm like, what the hell did you just say? let's just make the beer.
You should talk to John Stemler of Free Will.
Oh, John.
Because he's really into sours and he's really
Very
good.
I
At
was telling somebody about
Very
his
good.
sours last night. I was somewhere they had Craggle on tap. So he was like, "Oh, have you ever had this Craggle?" I was like, "First, it's Craggle, and second of all,
actually,
and second of all, they make some of the best sours you're ever gonna have."
that's really where his. I mean, he makes great beer all
Yeah.
around, but that's really where his wheelhouse is.
His passion.
Yeah.
I don't know how wasted you guys get on this show, but like I'm waiting for someone.
It's happened.
Waiting for someone to go for seconds because that's like the best compliment. So every beer launch event, right? I look for the second guy, and like every second guy gets a handshake. It's like,
Oh yeah.
you get a hug, my friend.
That's a good way to look at it.
Well, the problem is there's no more beer on the table. I think there's actually a little bit this last, but that doesn't count because that's not your beer. But
When you have to get up and go get it.
yeah.
And I'm still recovering from 2 weeks in California.
Yeah.
Did you have any beer while you're out there?
Oh, my God.
Poor Rich. That's all I have to say is poor Rich.
I thought
he
when
got
we-
In-N-Out Burger.
I thought when we were in Yosemite, I was like, okay, that will give my liver a break. No, they had great craft beer on tap
of course they did.
at the food hall. I know. I couldn't even believe it.
I'm excited to drink that peanut butter one you brought back for me. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything for you.
Oh,
I just want to sit and drink now.
I'm out of beer.
Agreed.
I'm out of beer. So I believe there was talk of a green beer earlier from the fermenter.
Oh,
If I remember correctly.
I don't know if I like it enough for that. I mean, that's a special.
All right, fair enough.
That's
fair
a
enough.
special treat. No, I'm just kidding. Let's go in. If you want to dive in, we'll go do it.
Absolutely, yeah.
We got things to do, so let's do it.
Tom just gave us a lesson on sanitizing the Zwickel, and now we are drinking
Yes,
some
Zwickel.
green beer.
And this is the United.
This is United, yeah.
This is
Young United.
Out of the fermenter, 5 days in the fermenter. You said
5 days so far.
Okay.
How long do you typically ferment this beer?
Well, we come in every 2 days to see where it's at. So it can range from 11 days to 17 days,
Yeah.
typically. You know, the midpoint's always usually 14, like the 2-week standard time.
Right.
But sometimes it's done a little early if it was aggressive fermentation. Sometimes done a little later. But 11 to 17 days in that range.
And you'll get a hint of the apple in the aroma, which is just a sign that it's
Yeah.
young.
That's
Right.
I would still drink it.
Still drinking.
I would still drink it.
So if like there's like a TV version of this thing, like someone would like throw an apple at your head right now.
Is that what happened?
Like if you were deciding what you wanted, and like an apple would smack you in the head.
That sounds a bit
Red apple ale,
gimmicky.
right?
Red apple. ale.
Red apple. Isn't that a thing?
Red's Apple Ale.
With 2 Ds, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we had this beer earlier in its finished and proper state. This obviously tastes young, like
Yeah.
you said, but you can definitely get the character of the final beer already coming out of it.
Yeah.
I think it's just fun to drink out of a fermenter.
Yeah.
Regardless,
It's like you see the beginning of what turns into, the United that you sell
Yeah.
to bars.
That's probably what, I mean, other than the actual brewing process, that's probably one of my funnest things. Like I love swinging in here every day and like just pulling some off. I love doing that.
Yeah.
Like see where it's at and see how it adjusts and see how it changes.
and you can taste the evolution
Yeah.
as the fermentation goes on. And
What's so cool, and it's kind of actually a point to the cellaring topic you said. Like cellaring usually, well, technically, cellaring doesn't really add flavors. Like cellaring will let flavors dissipate or go away.
Right.
And that kind of the same thing kind of happens just during normal fermentation as well.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, like there's been 1 or 2 times where we've had weird things in the beer, like the first 3 days, first 6 days, and then like we're like, all right, we're not going to keg that yet because it tastes weird, and we let it sit for 20 days, 22 days. And it disappears. It's like, where the hell did that weirdness go? It like completely dissipates.
the yeast
That's-
ate it.
The
And they
yeast ate
shat
it.
out
It's
alcohol.
it's so cool how that happens over
Yeah.
time. They're like, I'm not kegging this. This is a weird taste. And then 10 days later, it's like, that taste is gone. Keg it.
Well, and that's why there are a lot of off flavors because brewers will
Pull too soon.
Yeah, pull too soon, rush fermentation. There's that
Yeah.
pressure to get beers on tap.
Premature
Fermentation.
Premature ending of fermentation.
Yeah. What do you? Is there a term for like they're sparging and lautering. Is there a term for pulling the beer out of the fermenter? Like the final is like a technical term for that?
What do you mean by pulling it to test
Like
it?
moving it into
No,
the
like
bright?
finally like like moving it into the bright tank. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you transfer it into the bright tank.
But there's no like cool word for it.
It's just transfer.
transfer, or if you're going
premature.
to filter it.
my
or-
little email will be to Will. Will you transfer tomorrow?
Yeah.
It's ready.
So premature transfer doesn't really have a good
premature transferization.
Premature transferation.
There you go.
Yeah.
Dan's face.
Whatevs.
Whatevs. So, Tom, I know friends can't come and visit you here, but where can they find you on the interwebs?
The interwebs. So,
He was like, what's the interwebs?
okay. So, I mean, you can go to our website, of course, dogoodbrewing.com, which is where you can find, like, all the specs on our company as far as what we're all about, our charities, where our beers are at, what kind of beers we make, our brewing team. All that good info will be on our website. The homepage just might not be too great because I don't update it that often. But if you want updates of like what we're doing and events and what bar we just closed the deal with and like all that cool stuff, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all at Do Good Brewing. We're on all of those. So if you want to just like recently, we post a lot on there. You want to see what bar we just went into. What beer we just
You're
launched.
pretty active on social media.
I try to be.
Yeah.
I
It's always a good
I
thing.
did some really awkward selfies with us earlier. They'll be on.
That's true. Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. Sometimes, like you get like these small, really small startup, brewing operations where it's like a brewer who is just passionate about brewing, whatever, and there's no marketing person or whatever, and which is fine. But most brewers that we've come across are kind of Luddites. Now I know you have your web development and application development company, so you obviously are comfortable with technology, which is I think important.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have the ability to hire a team that frees you up for something that I can imagine how hard it was.
Yeah.
Like I said, the first 3 or 4 months, I was literally on my own. I mean, I was in here doing all brewery operations, all sales, all deliveries, all money collected, everything on my own. And as soon as we reached a pinnacle or a certain point, I was able to hire a brewing team.
Right.
Which freed me up to then do
more of the marketing,
more of the social media, more of the event organization, a lot of that stuff. So luckily enough, I mean,
Right.
I know your show is your show is really awesome because it's really educational. I mean, both in home brewing and beer, and like what breweries are all about, what home brewing is all about, little tips here, little tips there. But just for starting a brewery in general, I mean, you have to really find good people.
Yeah.
Like I've been so damn lucky. Like I started with Tom Conkright, who's now in the Chamonix Brewing. I mean, he's like an insanely smart, awesome guy. Without him, like half of this wouldn't have been possible. Mm-hmm. And now he was a cool enough guy before he left to help me transfer into Will Thompson, who's my current head brewer. These are 2 civil graduates, 2 smart dudes, 2 dudes with college degrees. Like if you don't have the right team, it makes things 40 times more difficult.
Oh yeah, I can
Like
imagine.
I can lean on their shoulders for everything.
Yeah.
Which is if I was by myself in this world, like a few 200-hour books does not help you get through some of the dilemmas we've had at the brewery.
Yeah.
It might get you through your first batch, but like your first like effed up sour beer or your first like super alcohol-y, high alcohol tone beer, like what the hell do you do? I don't know what to do.
I don't know what happened.
Like without Tom, like our first beer, we had like this high ethanol, like high alcohol taste, and like if I was by myself, I would have dumped it. I'd have been like, what is going on here? It's like fire. But they told me, listen, let it sit, let it hang out, it'll adjust, and it did.
Yeah.
Things like that you wouldn't know. So a team is super valuable. I love my guys.
Absolutely.
Do you have any events or beer releases coming up that we can watch out for?
The Bitter Forte Balsamic Blonde Ale, we have a launch party at the United Republican Club. That'll be coming up probably in like another 4 to 6 weeks. We'll post that all over social media when the event's going to happen.
Very good. And it will be served in these cups.
I will try my hardest to buy as many pink, green, and yellow plastic cups as I possibly can.
That's what makes it
Perfect.
That is definitely what makes it.
I love it.
I think it's that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a song for the goodbye?
There's an outro song. Yes.
Yeah, I know.
It starts off
Nice.
this way. And that unfortunately brings us to the end of another episode of Beer Busters. And Tom, we can't thank you enough for having us out here.
Thank you.
It was a lot of fun.
Thank you for
And-
allowing humans in your room.
Yes, specifically these humans. Humans. We humans. Humans. But there's a lot of good that's coming down the road. I can't wait to hear about the one this fall.
Yeah, please come back soon, man.
Definitely.
Love to. Well, as always, I'm Dan Baker, joined by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner.
and our from entertainer.
Wayne Thomas Baker Jr.
Full name right there.
Wow. We only had 4 beers.
Yeah, I know. Well, let's not forget no squids were harmed in the making of this episode. We'll see you next time.
I like Ola.
Bitches probably love it.
Thomas William Sheridan III.